Hi everyone. Hi Kaushik.
Hey, Vamsi. Good
Yeah.
evening.
Good evening. Good to be back again.
Yeah.
How are
How
you?
are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good.
I think I actually like the today's topic, discussing the low risk DeFi.
Yes.
Just a minute, I will be back.
Kaushik, good evening.
Very good evening.
So thank you everyone for joining. This is 18th Town Hall of OnchaAIn Asia. This is the first Town Hall for this year. So very excited to have all of you with us. Okay. Hello Jaydeep, hello Tushar, Vansh, Muskan, Rishabh. So it's 7:10 already. So I believe people may take a bit more time to join. A quick brief about Kaushik. Kaushik is the founder of Hyderabad DAO, and he's also working on his own product, Brew It. Yes, sir. I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, Frederick. Yeah, first of all, this, thanks for everyone for joining. I think Fridays are pretty hard for everyone to just make time and like join a boring talk like this. Yeah, having said that, and Happy New Year to everyone. So good to hear that this is the first town hall you guys are doing, and happy to come back and talk on this particular event as well. This always I found it like interesting, really good audience, mixed audience we get. So yeah, super excited to talk about this as well. Just a pretty small disclaimer is that I haven't prepared anything for this talk at all. So I wanted to talk about this because obviously when the markets are bad, people often want to talk about something that survives on the every narrative, crypto narrative, and this is something that has survived over the decade in crypto space or in general financial space, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about it, and something that we are working in the lines with this as well at Brewit. And yeah, like I wanted to have a casual talk around this, no preparation at all. But yeah, like just before 5 minutes, I just gave some prompt to Claude Code and just to create some presentation. So I'm just going to go through it probably, but this is not at all prepared. So I'll try to share the screen. Yeah, as you can see, my Cloud Code is still running to make the slides better, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah, anyways, um, first of all, why this term low risk DeFi, or like how have you heard about this term? Honestly, I've heard about this term when I came across this article long back, but I don't think I've actually properly grasped it or understood it. But like over the time, like I've read it like multiple times, and just few days ago also I went through it, and like that's when I understood every part of it little more. As we go through the experience of building things and going through the market cycle, we understand it much more better. So this is a very interesting article. You should go through it if you have not. by Vitalik itself. It's there in his personal blog, low risk DeFi, and this can be Ethereum what search for Google was. So we know one of the $1 billion company that did the boring thing, right? Most obvious thing, and at the same time, most boring thing anybody can do to make the people's life better was to create the search engine. So Ethereum as a space always, or as blockchain as a space, was always in kind of like search for Google, what search engine kind of like a tool we wanted in the Ethereum space, blockchain space, so that people's life can become better and everything can be like really useful for people in this space. Now, not just like pump and dump kind of like a application that we build or something that doesn't really make sense, right? So, but the reality is that crypto is very different compared to Web2, like Google or any of the other software space, because there is a lot of power that comes with the crypto itself. You can build whatever you want and you can fool whomever you want for a really long time, that without we realizing it. And at some point we do realize, and that's when we go back to the basics. And this is what the article actually emphasizes on. So Ethereum was basically created to do a lot more of things. So it was kind of like a protocol, or you can call blockchain, or a financial system, or the global computer, to build whatever you want in a completely decentralized ecosystem, self-custody ecosystem, completely permissionless, so that no intrusion of authority or no intrusion of centralized system should be there, that anybody can build, anybody can use, and anybody can be part of it. But honestly, when you build things, people want to do everything innovative. Like, they say that you can build literally everything on the decentralized ecosystem, permissionless. It's an identity, it's a marketplace, anything, right? So it has become kind of like a playground as well, not just kind of like a building an actual value. And that's what the blog talks about. Like, people build a lot of things without generating a revenue, and that's actually acceptable. And it happens in every Web2 ecosystem as well, or any software engineering space as well. But eventually you will have to find a space that gives value to the ecosystem, that gives value to the people's, what they're doing in the, what they were actually was there. For example, if you look at Google, right? In Google, the only thing actually generates revenue, like a really high revenue, is the Google search ecosystem and the ad ecosystem. And what in Ethereum we are in still search of is that what is that two of these tools or two of these protocols actually can generate really high value that other can be coexisted. There can be NFT project, there can be meme coin project, there can be a repetition project, everything along with it. But there has to be driving force for us to make sure that this ecosystem survives. This ecosystem actually adds value. And that is what is Vitalik talks about, is a low risk DeFi. So anyway, we'll go through that in a presentation. And yeah, so let's see what Cloud Code has done in terms of presentation. So yeah, we have seen this hype cycles, right? So every cycle we have seen the ICO. So if you are in the space, just who have entered in the space of ICOs, you can just raise hands. Just raise hands. I wanted to see who are there in the space since around 2017 or 2016. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice. I see two, three hands. That's nice. Yeah, so I also entered full time into the crypto space during the ICO space time. That was 2017 end and 2018. That's why I switched completely into crypto, and that was pretty exciting. At the same time, very chaotic as well. Everybody building, everyone had ideas. Everyone put it in their papers, but none of them actually implemented, or at least 99% of them actually implemented. Did not implement it, and they just raised funds. So that was initial coin offering. So unlike the IPOs, where a very well-established company gives permission for the public to own their shares, ICOs was, even before it was executed, you can own the shares and they can mint the money, they can actually raise the funds, and then they can build the product, right? So, but most of them did not make sense, these ideas, or most of them were like just a hype and scams, a majority of them, and that eventually collapsed. But the concept of ICOs or the token generation events are still there. But it's not that, like, you still need a lot of really good product market fit. You need revenue generated, you need community, then you can do the token generation now. So it's very different, right? And we saw NFTs. NFT as a technology is still there. We still use the technology on different kind of ecosystem. NFTs are still used in DeFi as well. Different form it has taken. But the hype of actually putting the art into the NFTs and NFT marketplace, everybody creating this NFT collections and raising millions of dollars, that has kind of like faded. And we have seen metaverse, which did not really take off at all. Gaming, it did pretty good. Metaverse as a concept, it still is like pretty early in the Web2 where we haven't adopted. It's stalled, I would say. And then social tokens are still in the fame, like everybody is there. Pump and dumps are happening. Did really good in Solana ecosystem, in Base as well. People are pushing the narrative, but it would take off if it did really had value, and people are just trying to push that or feed it into the community, that even though they really do not want it. And there are obviously meme coins and speculative tokens, which always will survive. When the markets are really doing well, it will always survive. So we are always in that search of one kind of narrative that will survive in the every cycle, that will actually add value, which I was talking about is right. So obviously it's a low risk DeFi. And then when we talk about low risk DeFi, we have to go to the basics. And it actually kind of like feels nice that I'm talking about it, because sentiments are not great most of the time in this ecosystem right now. And whenever the sentiments are not great, the really cool thing you should do, anybody can do, is just go and read the Bitcoin white paper or listen to the talks of Bitcoin. Somebody, okay. If you have questions, you can raise the hands and I'm happy to talk anytime. Yeah, so what I was telling is why we built this Bitcoin or the decentralized money, permissionless money in the first place, right? So that's definitely for the payments, to replace the banking ecosystem, which was kind of like redundant in many cases. It's again, banking has its own place at most of the times, but it does things that is not really required most of the times as well. So we see it has a really tremendous value in the global financial ecosystem to maintain the trust they have built over the years and everything. But at the same time, there is always a problem that we face when we interface with the banking ecosystem. May it be like international money payment, accessible to the banking ecosystem, accessible to some of the places where the access to banks are not there. How do they get access to money, move the money, get access to the economy, who want to add value to the economy but do not have easy access to the banking infrastructure and everything, right? So for them, this has kind of like a decentralized money. Bitcoin has always added a value. It's obviously evident. So that this is what is very important to go back and see why we built. It's definitely for the payments. And whenever the hype cycle throws off and we go back to the basics of payments, either it's in the form of stablecoin, settlement in the form of any token, or it can be like a disciplined investment strategy. Just do the savings for your using whatever tokens you have. Eventually that will become savings that you can access from anywhere, right? Like it doesn't have to be restricted to a particular region and everything. So let's go to the next slide. So what I wanted to stress is that DeFi has always been a really good value added, and this is kind of like a form that always takes place. The crypto always takes place when there is no hype left in this ecosystem. And I feel like everybody says, okay, our hype cycle has ended in the ecosystem. It's 2025. Next year going forward, there will not be new narrative. It will always be DeFi, which may not be true or which may be true as well. So the problem is that whenever the price goes up, people will come up with different kind of like ideas, which will eventually somebody will implement, somebody will fund it, and somebody will try to push it. It's going to happen no matter what. But I think that has faded a little bit, that not a lot of people are going to believe on this as the years passes. Which is a good thing. So even if there is a 10%, 20% of the hype cycle, that's okay. So we need the majority of this to happen in a really good way. So there are two parts of it. Like if you see the core Ethereum ecosystem itself, there is always a evident kind of like apps which will eventually generate revenue if you look into it. So NFTs generate revenue in terms of trading, enough of transferring. There is a whole lot of marketplace like OpenSea and a lot of things. Buy and sell often happens. Anything to do with the trading will always have a revenue generating thing. Meme coins have it. Speculative DeFi or the speculative the betting application will always be revenue generating also. And leverage trading or even the simple spot trading, everything will be always revenue generating. And there is a mission driven apps if you look into it. So these are all came later that really doesn't require an immutable ledger or the permissionless ledger layer, but it will be kind of like a cherry on top of this permissionless layer. So this is kind of like a perfect fit. For example, why don't we have a Twitter alternative like Lens and Farcaster, and people built on it? But the thing is that it's really cool. Oh yeah, it's anybody can get access to it. It has all the features of Twitter and everything. But at the same time, what we are using Twitter is the distribution, right? Like we have Twitter has become kind of like a major channel for us to get the information. We don't watch news a lot nowadays. We get everything from the Twitter, most of them at least. We directly look into the tweets of individuals, go to the trending things and find out things, right? So that's the information is the major things in the info file. So that is why something like a Lens and Farcaster is really cool to put out articles and everything, but it will never be as popular as Twitter, which kind of like we have realized, because Twitter bubble is very small, crypto bubble is very small compared to the entire Twitter. So Lens and Farcaster probably can sort of replace crypto Twitter, but it will never replace the Twitter, right? So that's sort of like a mission-driven app. Hasn't paid off in terms of what investment has been done for 4 or 5 years. And there is cool things like Polymarket and ENS, which has gotten the decentralized form of domain name system or centralized form of betting application into the decentralized thing, which is again pretty cool. And they are really doing really well. Like ENS also, if you look into it, they are not revenue generating. Polymarket is also sort of like revenue generating or not revenue generating in a same way. But they are really cool. Like ENS will always have a value. Their naming system will be there, just like the DNS is there. It could be revenue generating as well, but not as much as revenue generating. Polymarket, you have seen that is kind of like a sticks together with the stablecoin narrative, even in the bear market as well. And the privacy protocol will always be there because there are always consumer for privacy protocols, even in the Web 2, Web 3, it will always be there. So yeah, so revenue generating things are pretty cool. Mission driven apps are pretty cool, but revenue generating apps will be the kind of like a core thing that will drive the Ethereum ecosystem. So which is always needed for us. So the low risk DeFi kind of like a falls between those two, because it is kind of like a mission driven, because it was created, or this concept is created to make sure that people get the freedom in terms of their investment strategies, payment and everything. At the same time, they are kind of like a revenue generating as well. It has a mission driven values, and also it has a kind of like a revenue generating concept at the same time. So yeah, we can look into the Google analogy. So Google model has Chrome, Pixel, Gemini, Go, all these cool stuffs are there, valuable, but again, not so profitable at this moment. Search and ads are like economic engines. Ethereum models is again, so there is cultural and mission driven projects that everybody will invest on. But the low risk DeFi is the kind of like a end goal. So we want these financial instruments for us, such as investments, lending, borrowing, getting the loans, getting that 7%, 10% yield on your whatever assets constantly, or anything that is safer investment side will always be kind of like a sustainable foundation for the ecosystem. So I feel like both are kind of like a needed, but this is kind of like low risk DeFi is the thing that will add value to, or at least bring up all these experimental apps much more time to grow in this ecosystem. And that's why this is sort of like important. So I think there is kind of like 4 pillars they have pointed out: payments, stablecoin, settlement, display and yield. Yeah. So these 3 kind of like things always happens on the public ledgers, like payment can be there. So for example, if you look into it, there is in this particular narrative cycle, we are seeing stablecoin. Obviously, everybody has in payment chains that are coming up, like Arc, Tempo, and then Polygon themselves promoting a little more, going heavy on the money and the payment concept, being the payment chain itself. Anything to do with the money concept, anything to do with RW, everything, right? Stable coins are, again, it's not a narrative that it has survived since the beginning of the DeFi itself, and it always adds a value for the institutions as well, for the individuals as well. And their disciplined yield. So we have seen the yield farming from the very beginning, and till now also we have seen all kind of farming in the DeFi space. So disciplined yield. If you are not focused on the very risk yield strategies, so always disciplined yield will pay off eventually. Fully collateralized ones, not half-baked collateralized, which will not be a low risk thing. So yeah, like we have seen all these different applications grow, Aave being at the top. There are so many other DeFi projects, so many other yield bearing projects out there. Collateralized lending pools are the most popular protocols, but these could be a gateway for eventually having the not fully collateralized or uncollateralized lending platforms also eventually we might see. Yeah, so yeah, again, guys, this is completely unprepared as I was saying, so I'm actually okay to have any conversation in between as well. So if you have any questions, if I'm talking a little more, you can stop me and then ask questions as well. So this is, again, most of the things I'm covering is from the article itself, so you can ask questions. And I think the last two talks I did, I had kind of like a demo to show and all. I don't think I'll be doing that today, but I'll talk about something that we are working on at the juncture of AI, and which maybe in the next talk I can show it to you guys. Yeah. So one of the things which I always think is DeFi strategies, like anything that is very low risk projects, it will, even though it is low risk in terms of a lot of things, it can be in terms of the economic value, it could be in terms of the like the protocol itself, on-chain protocol, how they are doing it. So for example, on-chain protocol, in the sense that they're like very well audited protocols, well audited on-chain smart contracts and everything. It may look very low risk at the beginning, but there will be always some malicious things happening, either the economic end or either in the smart contract end itself, and there is always a possibilities of hacks happening in the, again, economic or the on-chain contracts itself. But why, after like 10 years that we are very well focused on the low risk DeFi, is that it feels kind of like a ready Aave being there for more than, I think, 6-7 years, and then we haven't seen a lot of hacks happening. Even we have seen hacks happening, it has survived over the years, and then battle tested, more things have been added on top of it, so the resilience are really high. So the experimental phase has sort of passed for the DeFi space, but then again, there might be more things coming up in the DeFi. Interesting things would be coming up, but a lot of experiments has already happened. It kind of like feels battles tested. So the risks are very low, not in just in terms of the investments or the monetary value, but in terms of the protocol itself, right? It's like very well tested, and that's why it feels like the DeFi is kind of like a low risk DeFi is kind of like ready right now. So again, the problem with the existing DeFi is that we do not know whether it has gotten battle tested or not in terms of the technology, because we do not hear about it. And the economic activity, the TradFi completely depends on the economic activity. So if the economic activity kind of like goes down, we see what's really happening in the banking ecosystem, financial ecosystem. Everything kind of like a shatters because there's like so much of layers built on top of each other. So it has a direct correlation with how the economy is doing. If there is a really bad things happening in terms of how the country is doing, how the if there is something like a corona happens, there is God forbid we don't see other one, but if the economy stalls, the TradFi directly gets affected, but the DeFi does not get affected because it is not built on any kind of like a sentiment, any kind of like a bridge with the external world, but it was always built with the completely trustless execution ecosystem. So the risks are very less compared either on-chain or off-chain as well. So that is why we do not know what the risks are there with the TradeFi. It's every time we have to face that and the risk actually happens. Yeah, I think in terms of the low risk DeFi, it's completely evident that it's a global permissional access. So real users are people seeking global market, businesses, even if they do not want to get into the TradeFi, which is actually happening with the stable coins if you see and see more and more. So the stable coin, so the DeFi ecosystem itself is more than, I think, close to or just over $250 billion worth of assets. So stable coin, they themselves are doing probably close to 100 billion or more than that. I'm not really sure. So you can just cross-check in CoinMarket or CoinGecko. But we are seeing most of them, these stablecoin ecosystem or DeFi ecosystem are institutional oriented. So the businesses are the major users of it. So even though we see the retails are using in terms of smaller investments, smaller payments to, so if you see something like the crypto cards and everything, which is built mostly for the retailers, it's probably still a very small percentage compared to what is happening behind the scenes in terms of the stablecoin adoption, with the which is going to rapidly grow as the institutions, major institutions, which works directly with the banks, adopt more and more. So yeah, so and what is actually benefiting is both businesses and also underbanked population who do not have access to the financial institution, the banking. So everybody's getting, benefited. So obviously what we have seen, what crypto is not for in terms of low risk DeFi as the narrative sets is it's not magic sauce to get rich or get high yields. A lot of these protocols of the DeFi protocols were built like that to promise you high yields and all, but eventually they will fade off. That's not low risk DeFi. Low risk DeFi are built with completely no clear incentive designed for it, but rather incentive to drive for the long-term adoption, but no immediate incentive, but it has a better incentive for the objective of the ecosystem itself. Yeah, so the crypto sauce, I think this is correctly told by Claude, is, yeah, it's a magic sauce for accessibility. I always consider the best thing about crypto or the DeFi, low risk DeFi or anything to do with the DeFi is the accessibility. So I can't imagine being a 15-year-old or 10-year-old getting access to financial institutions, which is so easy right now. So if anybody is aware of it, like somebody is building something really cool and he earns $50 or $10 when he is like 12 years old, they will get access to bank through these kind of institutions, which is pretty cool. Like we had to grow up to even apply for anything. Even if you have a job, you can deposit it, all these sort of things. But yeah, you can actually do the investment without even having all these things. So yeah, so this is the final things probably I wanted to cover is what we as a users or what we as a humans are not so great at low risk DeFi, that we are very impatient. So even though like most boring people in the world, they also always get excited about something which is going to earn them a little more. So we have internal tendency of greedy as human beings. So that's one of the cool things about AI is that they are not that greedy. So they will always ask you permission. So they will do some very boring stuff without having any tantrum, right? So I always feel like the low risk DeFi with the integrations of machine learning or the LLM could make the low risk DeFi much more appealing for the users or much more appealing for the humans itself. So yeah, it could do a lot of things which the humans will fall for it, or which humans will find it boring, right? Like for example, AI enhanced DeFi could do the risk assessment for you, automated optimizations. If let's say we find 2 to 3 different bank ecosystem itself. So let's say I own a bank, I own a bank account and have a bank account in SDFC. It gives me 4% savings interest. And then, okay, ICICI is giving 5%. And then they have better cards, credit cards, and everything for your employee account and everything. So still, even if it's just like 2%, I wouldn't do that. Like it's just a boring thing for me to like do all the paperwork, transfer it and everything. And we will just delay it, keep on delay it, right? So there could be an automated things, which is easy. Just one click, your all the positions will move, all your bank account will be transferred, instantly will get access. So all this optimization, automated parameter optimization could be done with the AI, as long as it's like very risk-free. Again, it has to be like really resilient and everything. And yeah, all this threat detection, which everybody in the crypto ecosystem have gone through this problem of either some kind of attack to their personal wealth, some kind of protocol hack, they get affected, centralized or non-centralized, whatever. I have personally dealt with that as well. So AI can do it a little more better. With again, it could be a machine learning, artificial intelligence with a lot of data fed into it, giving you a better access to information and everything. And yeah, so personalized yield strategies based on your personal persona. It can actually suggest you a lot of these DeFi investment strategies and all those sort of things. So a lot of boring stuffs can be done. Again, it hasn't happened yet. What the AI can do, it has just started, I would say, because I think what LLM and things are doing is still in the experimental stage for the developers or the marketing people, but it has not hit the retails or the consumers yet so deeply. And crypto, it has seen a lot of experimentation happen, but it hasn't happened in the scale that we would like to. But these are things which would happen. And yeah, so that's what, yeah, I think once you asked the question. Cody's Law. Anybody watched this movie?
Yeah.
Or document?
Did you watch it, by the way?
Cody's Law. I don't think I watched it. Let me see. Oh, it's a new one. No, I don't think I watched it. Oh, interesting. I should watch this.
Yeah, it's a recent.
Does it talk about Lewis DeFi or the DeFi?
Yeah, mostly DeFi hacks that happen lately.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll watch this.
Is my voice recording?
Sorry?
How was my audio like? Recording normal. I mean, you have it's a good me. Just okay.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Your audio. Yeah, now it's better. Yeah. So earlier my audio was echoing, I guess. I hope it's
My
better.
internet is also bad, actually.
Oh.
That's some remote place.
Yeah. So I was just saying that yeah, it's a good documentary. Like I think I suggest everyone to watch it. It covers all the early stage hacks, like the DAO hack, so like all about like code law, like how why like regulations and these things are important, and it also covers most of the part, like covers mostly around DeFi actually.
Oh, nice. I will watch it. Yeah. I'm actually very impressed with what Lord Code did with the presentation.
So
It's like whatever I wanted to
it's
talk
nice
about.
actually.
Not bad.
Can you show the prompt once? So is it co-work or no, direct?
No, just Cloud Code. Yeah, so like I just gave the article. So this was the entire article of Vitalik. Then I think, yeah, I just gave the abstract that I wanted to talk. So That's it. Like the abstract of the talk I gave, and it designed the slide for.
So it generated the markdown file.
Yes,
Okay.
HTML.
And then you converted it to PPT.
Yeah, it's just HTML.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I've done this before as well with the Cloud, not with the Cloud Code, with the cursor for my previous, but I had to do a lot of iterations for the content. So now I feel like the Opus is pretty good at understanding what we want.
Yeah, I also felt this multiple times that Opus is better in understanding the user's context. Like users, what is like the goal. Like it also asks when it is unclear for it basically. I mean, have noticed multiple times that it tends to ask questions, right?
Yes.
Misses in some models.
Yes.
And it is also deterministic in some things. Like it has its let's say if you're working on backend, right? It has its suggestions, that strong suggestions, and even when you prompt misses few details, that let's say I've given wrong instructions by mistake, it ignores that and corrects it. So it's not completely obedient that way as well. Because like most LLMs are like this way, right? That too kind. So to a lot of times being too kind, they just produce inaccurate results. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
And yeah, I think GPT 5.0 is also good. Like, did you try this GPT 5.2?
GPT 5.2, yeah, I think I was using GPT 5.2 and Cursor, so I could see a lot different. Like the basically Sonnet and 5.2 were sort of like similar. Like at least that's what I felt. But yeah, this is like way different.
But yeah, 5.2 takes the Codex 5.2 takes a lot of time for producing any results actually. Opus is better in terms of speed. It produces results faster. Yeah, like a good model, a good daily driver, I would say, for like starting any new project.
Yes. That's the bootstrapping is very good.
So yeah, you can continue now. Like,
yeah, I think I'm almost done. So basically, yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. But yeah, ending with how AI can make it like really better. So, and there's one more slide on. So I always wanted to control, like compare what we are going through the ecosystem, because I think every narrative, right? Like we feel like in crypto, we are living in a very different world. But if you look into what has happened in like last 1 or 2 years, this is kind of like my personal experience as well, because whatever I was seeing in like last 6 years, we were living in a delusion of we don't, our model is not similar to what the Web2 revenue models, Web2 users model. We have community, our marketing strategy is different, our business model is different and everything. But our business model, our marketing model, our community, everything is similar to Web2. And that's what we have learned over the like past 5-6 years. That's what at least I have learned, is that we are going back to comparing everything, revenue generation, user behavior, how to build a community exactly like Web2. And that's exactly why Vitalik also is comparing this with the Google ecosystem, right? So the only thing which is very different is that Ethereum has given priority to everything in the same level. For example, if you look into Google, so in Google, search engine was kind of like a very innovative thing that had happened and everybody was using it. And if nobody was paying initially, but eventually they added the ad revenues and they built like so many smaller things that could generate them the ads, either giving data, selling data to other entities, all those sort of things. But they created a very kind of a thing that nowhere existed and people wanted it. But crypto was not like that, right? Crypto was kind of like created to replace something which was already existed, but it was very difficult for us to realize that it has a better value then, because how we explain crypto to normal people are not really good. So let's say I want to onboard to somebody to crypto, and one of the things that we did with Brewit is to onboard normies to crypto, and it still is like a really easy way to onboard to crypto. But the question is always that why do you have to onboard to crypto? It's not about onboarding it to crypto. Why do you have to? So this is where nobody can give answers to it. So in Google, it was very evident that, okay, I want to search something, I want to know something about this person, some object, some movie and everything. You Google, and there was no alternative existed other than go to manual wiki pages or finding this data from a website. And this was aggregator, right? It was pretty easy to explain. So crypto is not like that. It's a financial replacement for financial system that was already there. So what we had to explain was not just telling decentralized, but we have to show that what that value is, right? So the problem is that we can't show the value unless people come here and experience it. And it's still a really hard selling point for us to do that. And for that to happen, it has to be shown firsthand that it's faster, it's cheaper, and it's more easy to use, right? Not that it's hard to use. So that was always the thing. Like we tell, look, it's a decentralized, it's permissionless, it's cheaper, it could be cheaper, but it's always hard to use. So we have to make it easy to use as well. And we shouldn't be able to explain why it is better. It has to be better, right, than the financial institutions. So we have that answers actually. If you look into it, like what I was explaining, accessibility is the most important thing. How do you get loan? In the traditional ecosystem, getting loan is harder. Can we make that getting loan easier in crypto? But this is what the Vitalik was telling at the very end. So if he was talking, so what can low-risk evolve into? He talked about something like once we mature ecosystem of financial and non-financial activity happening on chain, it starts to make sense to explore reputational based under collateralized lending. So I always felt like lending concept is really cool in crypto. Collateralized, you can get loans pretty easily by putting all this whatever assets you have in there. You can get loan in staples. So these are collateralized. But what if we can actually develop very similar credit score system like what we have in existing financial institutions, and make it much more accessible and like very really good reputation system in crypto, that getting loan will be like super easy for anybody to do that. So if we create that one kind of like a very, again, this is not low risk DeFi, it's a slightly risk DeFi, but it can evolve into low risk DeFi, or the low risk DeFi can actually give path to these kind of like really cool innovations, and that is the mass adoption we would see. So we don't have the tools right now to do the mass adoption if you think about it, like even if you, in terms of explanation or anything, only when you come and experience, and then it makes sense, okay, something works, something will be like really cool replacement, unless you have like earned in crypto, you have stable coins, then you do the investment and everything, right? So nobody would like to do the on-ramp into crypto and then experiment it. So we would want to see the value and then do it, all these things. So yeah, so we can't really compare Google's model to the Ethereum model. But yeah, so these are the points. If they say it's like decentralized and baked in, alignment is there, no perverse incentives. Incentives, obviously, Ethereum does not Ethereum's advantage, but the Ethereum ecosystem will give way to all these perverse incentives, but it is not there. So yeah, so proprietary data hoarding. So obviously we know all the flaws of what the centralized big companies brings in, but open ecosystem has. So again, this is not a really good way for us to pitch this into the normies. But I think low risk DeFi will, if you make like one click, there is one more good article that you should read. Abbas Khan from Ethereum Foundation. You can just go and check it out. One click DeFi walls might be the crypto's next breakout. What I liked about it, it brings the user experience part as well as the low risk DeFi part as well. He also talks about a little bit of low risk DeFi. So you can check this out as well. So these are smaller tools that we need for the mass adoption to find out that low risk DeFi will eventually will become like Google or the search engine for the Google, right? So yeah, so these are the thoughts I had, and then one. Yeah, this is why we are also like in Brewit, like we tried building and we are still building the Brewit as an launch tool for making it very easy for anybody to experience crypto, kind of like a banking experience we give for non-custodial wallets. And we have all the tools baked into it, like investments, AI integrations, permission concepts, everything, so that users can, developers can build integration with external AI tools, automations, everything. But one of the things that we wanted to experiment, and actually it was our initial vision when we started Brewit, is to build a very low risk DeFi utility tool, which was DCA. So it started as a DCA, and we're actually building a DCA right now. It's called Flow by Brewit, flow.brewit.money. You can check it out, but it's not launched yet. We are just like releasing it in phases right now. We have early access program that we are doing, and one of the things that we are doing, it's a very simple DeFi invest DCA in the sense it's a dollar cost average. It's very similar to what the investment that we do, either in the, if you want to do the mutual funds investment on the strategy based SIP kind of a thing, strategical investment, it's pretty similar to that investment, this much of funds daily on these kind of like investment strategies or monthly or whatever it is. And one of the coolest things about is DCA is that it averages out. Like it doesn't really matter what the market conditions are. Like you don't have to be like really hesitant, should I invest today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow? Like it will take care. And we think the AI will add value in it by making sure that it will take calls based on the past experience and then the future scopes and the current sentiment to whether to invest daily or not, or when to invest, how much size to invest and everything. So again, it's a combination of intelligent low risk DeFi, so that you do the daily investment along with the strategies that the AI can actually assist you with its own learning. And we have our permissioning concept. Everything is like non-custodial, self-custody. It's pretty safe. Like it's completely decent. Again, decentralized ecosystem. We integrate with all the open protocols and everything. So yeah, so this is something that we are launching as Flow. It's flow.brewit.money, and you can check out our manifesto, blog post, everything to know more about it. We'll be launching it like 1 or 2 weeks in phases again. But yeah, happy to answer on that. Yeah, so that was about low risk DeFi. Have any questions?
Yeah, Kaushik. So basically, earlier, as you were mentioning about the narrative, like how we pitch to the normies, right? So I also agree that like normies don't actually like care about decentralization, privacy, to be honest, as far as I have noticed. So I mean, if something is adding value to their life, they obviously be interested in that. Let's say there are someone wants to send money back to their home country, right? Remittance, right? So for that, they have multiple options now. Like they can send it by like Shift bank account or some other. Like I think there are some solutions, Web2 solutions as well now, like for Western Union, these exchanges. But other than that, but still, they like instant thing and has like usually have a lot more transaction fee, right? But in Web3, in crypto, we have stable coins. They can just send it instantly, and they don't have to worry about like the value as well, because they can now we have stable coins like stable coins hash fund use case. I believe payments and in that as well, I believe like it's most of our like cross border payments, right? So like
Yes.
so
I think
yeah, so addressing their use case. So when we first talk with the people, so first better to ask them, so what do they do usually like in their life? Like based on that, we can identify the issue and where crypto can actually make it better for them. I think it's better to do that way, or instead of pitching them that okay, Web3 is this internet money, you can just do things, decentralization, all that stuff.
Exactly. If they have not faced the problem, you can't actually pitch them anything. So most of the time we explain either, let's just think about the cross border itself. So if you explain this to people who actually do the remittance and everything, it does makes like immediate sense for them. So yeah, again, we have to pitch particular. Obviously, in the financial instrument, crypto can give a lot more things. For example, if you tell that okay, somebody is investing on crypto, on a banking ecosystem, and they get like 4%. You say that okay, you can get like 7% on stable. So why don't you use crypto? So yeah, that's a good way for somebody who's doing investment. So for somebody who wants to do the inter-country, like the foreign exchange, I think this makes sense. And you can explain crypto cards as well. For example, some people think that okay, like if I travel, I have to take FX, foreign exchange charges. Like most of the time, the crypto cards give really good rates. So use this. So that is why I think crypto cards are becoming pretty famous as well for the travelers. So yeah, I think it's basically based on their experience and what they go through. If you explain something they haven't faced as a problem, it doesn't make sense. So it shouldn't be like a static answers for people to onboard. Nobody will resonate with one particular problem.
Correct. So basically, like we need to abstract the complete this thing like decentralization, all the tech. To be honest, like we just have to, explain them how the value we added here with crypto. But yeah, we don't necessarily need to explain them like how it works under the hood and all. Like usually, like in the day-to-day life, when they use Uber or Netflix, they don't actually care how the load balancer works, right? So yeah. So that
Yes,
abstraction is more needed, I guess. Like
it's
last,
happening.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, it's happening. Like we have social sign-ins now, the wallets, right? Abstracting account abstraction is better. It is in a lot better stage right now compared to where it was like 3-4 years back.
Mhm. Yes. Yes, I think that's why this concept like low risk DeFi, right? So
Yeah.
this is something that everybody in their first investment, for example, when I first got a salary, so obviously if you have extra 10 or 20%, we want to invest. Nobody is aware of investment strategies back then. Now it looks very like evident that okay, we have to invest in that. There are so many options. Back then we are all confused. Like we're like, what is it like risky? Is it a scam? Like should we invest on that? So most of them go for SIPs these days. So low risk DeFi in crypto makes sense. Like once you show that okay, you don't have to invest on meme coins on the crypto, or you don't have to invest on Ethereum if you don't want to, or Bitcoin or anything. Like invest on any strategies, like low risk DeFi strategies that explore it. So getting 7%, 8% yield, or do DCAs, like all sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many options. It's just that I think should be like a norm. So if somebody wants to do this particular thing in crypto, send them here. Somebody wants to do this, send them here. That's it.
Yeah, I believe low risk DeFi will reach masses soon. But yeah, it might be called something else because DeFi, I don't think that term will go well with them. But yeah, some other way,
Yes.
like they'll be using it the tech some other way. They need not
Yeah.
to know what exactly DeFi is. Still, like
Yes. And also, I think not just the terms, like in DeFi, it's still scary for letting people because of if you look into, okay, if you go to the borrow, like doing a lending, borrowing, investment in yields, vaults and everything, it's still technical. Like I think there are very few new banking tools or the applications which can make this one-click vault and everything. So aggregators for vaults and then how you give to the retail users, that's still there. Nobody wants to build like very boring things, interfaces for these kind of like things. I think that will also give, like for example, what PhonePe, Paytm did for UPI, which was if UPI was given only for government implement, they would have like not been this successful. We needed a better user interface for retail, and that's what Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay did, right? So we just need like good interfaces for this low risk DeFi, and then show to the user. That's it.
yeah, yes, makes sense. I think we can wrap in 10 minutes. If anyone has any queries, feel free to raise your hand. Or like you can just turn on mic and speak, or you can just share your drop your question as well. And Kaushik, do you have anything else to share?
I think this is a really good way to enter into crypto. Like if somebody is still exploring or just starting their journey, instead of like I feel like in right now in the blockchain, every L2 has a very similar tech. At least people who are building smart contracts and like applications on top of it. So just to explore more of the DeFi, I think we are in the right narrative to get started. Instead of there are so many people who are going to build something obviously as a hobby project, it will not make sense. So, but there are so many things happening in the DeFi space right now, so many things to explore. So I feel like it's a good way to start and just like look into all the things that are happening in the DeFi space. And yeah, just learn. There are plenty of tools to get started, plenty of good tech, plenty of assistance for you to bootstrap it. So, really good time to build. But yeah, like building the right things, like if you want to seriously build on it. But for experimentation, there are plenty to experiment anyway.
Yeah. And like, do you want to talk more about Revit? Like, I think I've also signed up for the Flow campaign that was launched recently.
Yeah, so I think we talked about Brew multiple times. Like, so we in Brew we did like a lot more things. So in terms of integrations, we recently, just like 1 month ago, also when X402 was happening, we integrated X40 payment things also to Brew. So if you sign up for Brew, you can actually, if you're a developer also, we have MCP servers that you can actually integrate, use it on any of your applications, AI tools as well. So we did a demo in Argentina during the DevCon also using X402. We're the first one to implement this account abstraction, like the user of based X402 transactions. So otherwise you will have to use X402 for the payments. You will have to use certain tokens which supports this specification, and we made it accessible for all the tokens using the user of. So we haven't like actually we have a PR for that, but it's not merged into the X402. But yeah, those are the things that we were experimenting on, the payments angle, on the automation angle for the Brew. So what it does is our core tech in the Brew is something called as a delegation. So you log into Brew, you get an account which is like a banking account, or like it's a wallet, but it has all the functionalities. Like you can do the swaps and transactions without paying a gas. You can log in with any of the social login, any of the wallets, and in email, passkey, and everything. It's pretty easy to log in. And once that is done, if you are a developer, you can actually we have something called the delegated account. So if we have as a user, I log in, I have like $100, and I want to onboard my mom or friends to it. Like I can just delegate part of my funds for them to use. You can have a joint account and all this sort of thing. These are all on-chain permissions. So we have this permissioning concept where we can actually give access to other entities, similar to what the permissioning concept happens in the PhonePe, right? Like you give daily investment permission for other services to do the payment or to do the investment. Similarly, we have that. So yeah, if it's a cloud desktop, you can give access to do the automations. We had integrations with services like Windy. We are listed on them. And yes, like if you have your own tool you're building, you can actually connect it to Brew and do the automations and everything. And currently we are doing the DCA as our internal app, so which does the same using the permissioning concept itself. So let's say you have $100, 100 USDC, you tell that invest every day $5 into Ethereum, buy me Ethereum every day $5, but you can invest up to maximum $10. So it will do the investment by taking permissions. Again, you are not transferring anything. It just has permission to spend $5 every day. It does the investment into Ethereum. And since we have AI models integrated, we have ML model integrated. So it will take a call based on its past data and the current sentiment. Should I invest $5 or should I invest $10 if it's a bull scenario, or somewhere in between, or it can skip as well. If the market, okay, the price has hiked up a lot, it's not a good time to buy. So it will skip all those sort of things. So this is something that we are building on the Flow, but there are so many things you can build on top of Brew it as well. If you're a developer, we have developer documentation at docs.brewit.money. And yeah, so we are like AI aligned, permission aligned. Yeah, we are focusing more on the DeFi as well at this point. But yeah, if you want to have a simple like if you want to open an account, have a wallet, go to app.brewit.money or brewit.money, and you can get started. We are there on 13+ chains. So.
Yeah, sounds good. I actually like the account delegation part, to be honest.
Yeah, so we did like multiple times, I think, on the call also.
Yes. All right. I think it was a good session, to be honest. And if anyone has any queries, feel free to share it. I think we are good to end the call in 5 minutes. Thanks everyone for joining, and especially to Hyderabad DAO and Kaushik for taking up the session once again.
Yeah. Thanks, Vamsi, and thanks everyone for joining. Have a good weekend.
Okay, bye everyone.